Welcome to my nightmare.
What's up, boys and ghouls? Welcome to another episode of Cinematic Nightmares. I am always your host, Mika G, and this is a special top 5. Tonight, we are taking it to Springwood, and not just any place in Springwood. We're taking it to Elm Street.
Every town has an Elm Street.
That's right. We are talking about the land of insomnia, coffee addictions, and one burnt-faced dream demon who just does not quit. That's right. We are talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street characters. And of course, I am not alone. I have with me a special guest, Justin from the Pop Culture Reflections podcast. Welcome, Justin.
Oh man, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I love talking A Nightmare on Elm Street. I love talking to you. We had such fun talking about killer clowns on my show. So I've been like kind of chomping at the bit a little bit to come on to Cinematic Nightmares and talk about something horror. I'm just glad it's this.
And I am so happy that you're here. And this is probably when you mentioned that you wanted to do Elm Street characters, I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this. We are going to get into our top 5 Elm Street characters. And so let's get into it. Justin, who do you have at number 5?
All right. So, I could have went anywhere with this list and maybe like, I don't know, 10-year-old me, 15-year-old me might have chose different characters, but, adult me is looking at it from a different angle. So I think some of these are kind of interesting, almost low-key choices for this group, and I'm going to start with the one that this is from a film that doesn't get talked about quite as much. It's a film that's not really beloved in the franchise, which is Part 5, Dream Child, because I'm going with Yvonne, played by Kelly Jo Minter. So I want to really quick I want to throw out an honorable mention because I'm just going to spoil it. Mark Patton did not make my list. I love the character of Jesse from Part 2. He was right on the cusp for me, but I love his performance, but I like him more than I do the character. So instead, I put Yvonne in here. So I'm showing love to this character because I don't think she gets talked about enough. Like, she delivers an awesome performance as Alice's new best friend in Dream Child. The actress to me, like, really shows emotion. Like, one of the few side characters that really shows emotion and courage in her performance. And then she and Lisa, to me, like, and their connection, Lisa Wilcox, that is the actress playing Alice, their connection and their chemistry just flies off the screen, and they're really like the highlight of that 5th installment. So that's why Yvonne's getting some love for me at my number 5 spot.
I love Yvonne. Like, she's the one that, like, she's like the who you scared of what? Your dreams? Like, that's wild to me. That's wild. But no,
yeah, she's so logical. I love it.
And she's the voice of reason in the whole movie. Like, girl, if you don't cut it out, they finna take your baby. Stop playing.
That's right.
Love Yvonne. I went a little strong. Like, I went a little more tougher, even though she met her fate with Freddy. I'm going with Taryn from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Played by Jennifer Rubin. And the reason why I chose her is because in her dreams, she was a badass. But, outside of her dreams, she was, a little quiet, a little meek, a little mild. So when she showed up in the punk rock and the leather, and she had the switchblades, and she was like, let's dance. And unfortunately, she met her fate because she was also a drug addict. And Freddy knew this. And, but I love her line when she's like, in my dreams, I'm beautiful and I'm bad. And I'm like, yes, because, I think in most of their dreams, you want to be someone else. So just to see her do that transfer from being, recovering drug addict to being badass. And of course, like I said before, she met her fate to Freddy, but she looked good doing it.
She did look good doing it, and like you said, like, I love everything about her presentation as a punk rocker. I always kinda like that aesthetic as it is, and then the fact that she's, like, a legitimate badass, and even, the awake world, the real world, like, she's going through some stuff, and she's dealing with that addiction past, and she's, like, a grounded person in that group, and I really love her for that. But what I really appreciate about the third installment of this film is it goes there, right? Like, we have a
Mhm.
character that was a drug addict. That's like the first time in this series where they like tapped into some real life stuff.
Right.
And we got the iconic image of Freddy putting his fingers up, including the gloved hand, and he has needles on on 8 of his, well, no, I think it's on all 10 of his
It's
fingers.
all
He's got
10,
needles.
yeah.
Right, right. And then like he says something like, let's get high or whatever. And then they go there where he sticks these things into her arm. It is insanity. I think only in like 1987 could they even do something like this, kind of go there while still being very comedic and lighthearted. And obviously, Dream Wars is where Freddy kind of comes out of his shell a little bit to become a little bit more of that MTV Freddy,
Yes.
one-liners galore and everything. But it really gives us like an iconic scene. And even though she didn't make my list proper, I always liked her as well. She's probably one of the big standouts. There's actually one standout for me in that film more than her, and I'll talk about that individual in a little bit. But yeah, I really love her as well.
Nice. Nice. Who you
Yeah.
got at number 4?
All right, so I wasn't gonna go here, but I decided what top 5 Nightmare on Elm Street character list is complete without including Freddy Krueger himself. So I put him in the number 4 spot, okay?
Okay, I'll
And
give it to you.
like, listen, I had to, if for no other reason, I had to at least do this for Robert Englund himself. The man is a legend. One of the most memorable and iconic horror villain performances of all time. Minus maybe Freddy's Dead, which he is so bad in, but that's a whole different conversation for a different day, I think. But like he was scary as hell in the first 2 films. To me as a kid growing up on these movies, like he frightened me during, those first 2 films. And
Mhm.
then he becomes like that rock star after Dream Warriors, and he just become like his legacy then becomes just this pop culture icon, which is almost no longer a scary character. He's just this pop culture icon, American icon, whatever you want to say. So like I said, I wasn't gonna do it, but I had to include Freddy because what's the franchise, what's New Line Cinema without the house that Freddy built? I had to give Freddy some love, so I put him at number 4.
I so y'all gonna be mad at me because Freddie didn't make my list. And no, I know. How can you call yourself a horror movie fan and Freddy Krueger is not on your list for Elm Street character? No, the reason why is because I wanted to stick to the Elm Street kids, but
I get it.
not mad at you for putting Freddy on the list because he is iconic. Like
Mhm.
he is the Elm Street franchise. Everything about him is and like you said, the first 2 movies terrifying. Like
Yes.
like my kid won't even watch A Nightmare on Elm Street because she was so terrified by Freddy Krueger. Like, but no, I mean, there would be no Elm Street. I mean, there would be no Friday, no, I mean, no Nightmare on Elm Street without Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger
Mhm.
saved New Line Cinema.
Oh
so,
yeah, 100%.
so we're, excellent pick. So,
Can I ask you something before you give your next one?
uh-huh.
Because I'm always curious of this. Do you have a Freddy or a favorite Freddy from the whole franchise, like a favorite film that he's represented in, favorite portrayal? Do you have one that is your favorite of his?
Super Freddy.
Really? There's not too many people that say that. That's awesome.
like I like Super Freddy. I know
He
it
is pretty
sounds weird,
wild.
but I love Super Freddy. Like he's like walking around like all built and macho, and he's like, "Say it, Super Freddy," and then he like, I mean, he still has the glove, you know what I'm saying? So he's got all these muscles and he's beating Mark up and whatnot, and then yeah, poor Mark.
I've always really loved in part 2 when he shows up at the pool where all the kids are
Oh
having the pool party and he says, "You're all my children now," or whatever the
yes.
line is. It is iconic. I love it. And that's like again when Freddy was still scary with the really wet makeup and the pointy nose. He was just awesome in part 2.
Yes. I love part 2 because we didn't get that much Freddy. And when we
Right.
did get that much Freddy, it was the pool party scene.
Mhm.
And he was
Mhm.
just going ham. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine being a parent and you get that phone call like, "Hey, your kid is gone."
Yeah.
They had snuck out and went to some pool party, and you're like, "Who killed him?" We don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
Your kid got barbecued. We don't know how it happened.
Right. Oh, yeah, that one scene when the guy was trying to climb up the vines and he just falls and whoosh, flames. And I was like, you're rewatching it as an adult. You're like, what? But as a
Yeah,
kid, you're
it
like,
doesn't
oh.
yeah, as a kid, it's like, "Oh, man, this is great," but as an adult, you're like, "What's going on here? This doesn't make any sense."
Right. So you mentioned Freddy's dead. I had to pick the badass in that movie too, which is
Wow, okay.
Tracy, played
Okay.
by Leslie Deanne. The reason why I picked Tracy is because from the moment we meet her, she is don't touch me, don't because she again, this is another subject that a Nightmare on Elm Street movies are touching on. She was, molested as a child by her father, or yeah, it was her father. And so she had a thing with people touching her. Don't touch me. Don't, but she was the only one that went like toe to toe with like Freddy.
Mhm.
And like, when she picked up that iron and she was like bing, 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 bing. I mean, even though it wasn't really the person that she thought it was actually Freddy. It was just the fact that she learned to fight back, and she used it in the movie. She used it against Freddy. She wasn't afraid to back down. She wasn't, I mean, yes, she was scared because it's a horror movie, but
Mhm.
at the same time, she still stood up for herself, and she still took matters into her own hands and made it to where, like, you may be scary, but she's like, I'm scarier. Like, you're gonna have to deal with me. But yeah, I
Right.
chose her
Yeah.
because she's one of the underrated survivors of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. You don't hear many people mention Tracy when they talk about survivors of Elm Street.
Yeah, you're right. She doesn't get talked about much at all, and I agree with you. I think she has a lot of good qualities. I think she's a good final girl. I think my displeasure and my almost hatred for that film, is part of the reason why I just don't think about characters from that movie, because I try to erase it from my memory because I despise it so much.
I don't
But
blame you.
having said that, yeah, she's a good character. I just think she'd have been better served in a better Nightmare film. And Freddy's Dead is just an abomination to me. It's one of those things I hadn't rewatched it in a long time, and then I finally did a couple months ago because I did an episode with somebody where we talked about that show. I was a guest on a show where we talked about it, and so I had to rewatch it again for the first time in a long time, and I hated it more now than I ever did before. I just can't get my way through it. It's terrible.
Uh, you know what? I think the reason why I'm gonna say I will not say that I like Freddy's Dead. I will tolerate it
Hmm.
because of Tracy, because um if anybody I didn't want to die, I didn't want her to die. I wanted her
Right.
to make it to the end. And of course I know she does make it to the end. But you're right. It's so bad. And the backstory doesn't make sense. And you know, why does he have an adopted daughter? I mean, not adopted daughter.
Hmm.
Why does he have a daughter all of a sudden? And we're like, we done been through how many movies? He ain't never mentioned any kids before. Oh, you know
Right.
what? Forget about it. You know what? Okay.
Yeah, and
So
let's never forget the awful scene where he's pushing the spikes out on the road like he's a Looney Tunes character. Oh my gosh, it did not belong in a Freddy movie, but that's all I'll say about that.
it's crazy. My parents went to go see that movie in theaters with the 3D glasses.
Oh wow, that'd have been wild. But I think I remember like even the 3D parts, just a very small segment at the end. So even
Yes.
that they didn't really like. They didn't really commit to the gimmick like Friday the 13th Part 3 did, where it was like all 3D and all
Right.
these gimmicks throughout the movie for 3D stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm glad I never saw it in the theater, and like I said, not ready to rewatch that anytime soon. That's for sure.
I think Alamo Drafthouse is showing all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, including Freddy's Dead in 3D. So
Wow.
yeah, somebody on my threads went and bought all the tickets, like to all the movies, and I was like, I'm gonna watch one, and it's probably gonna be the first one, and
Yeah.
that's it. Because I didn't get to experience it in theaters, kind of like I didn't get to
Mhm.
experience Jaws in theaters, so I'm definitely gonna go
Mhm.
see Jaws as well too. But yeah, definitely gonna go check out one and one only,
I got you.
maybe three,
Yeah.
maybe three. All right, so who do you have at? We're at number 3 now. Yes.
I'm at number 3, and I'm excited to talk about this character. This is a character I have loved since I was a kid because this character is a true badass. He's one of the few male characters to survive early on, other than Jesse. I'm
Yes.
talking about Kincaid, played by Ken Sagos from Part 3 Dream Warriors, and then from Part 4 Dream Master a little bit. And unfortunately, he does meet his end in that film. But I think Kincaid is hilarious, and he's just what we need in Dream Warriors. He's a badass. He's not about to mess around with Freddy. Like, he ain't having it. He ain't playing, and I love that about him. And it sucks that he dies in early in Part 4, but I do love the fact that he gives us the iconic dog of his named Jason, who happens to
Yes.
pee fire onto the grave site to resurrect Freddy, which is a wild time, and it's a really fun scene. But yeah, I love Kincaid. I think he's awesome. Like every time I rewatch Dream Warriors, which I have watched so many times, it's one of my favorite. I think it's the best Nightmare film. It's just my opinion. But every time I watch it, he comes on the screen. I have a good time. I love his energy. He's funny. He's a badass. He's everything you want in a great character in a horror film. So Kincaid's my number 3.
That's crazy because he's also my number 3.
Oh, nice. I love it.
You totally read my mind. And to piggyback on what you said, like, he is a total badass. Like, he's the muscle of the Dream Warriors. And in his dreams, he's strong. He could, bend chairs and bust through walls and things like that. And yes, unfortunately, he does meet his fate at the beginning of Dream Masters.
Mhm.
But he also gives us, right before he dies, he tells Freddy, I'll see you in hell.
Yes, he does.
And Freddy's
He's a
like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Kincaid is a badass all the way up to the end, even up to death, and that's again, such an a character that doesn't exist in enough of these movies. A lot of them are just fodder, and what I love about Kincaid is even in death, he's not fodder. He even has like the last word, which we don't get from a lot of these characters. So again, I love the way he's written. I love the way he's performed, and he will always be one of my favorites.
The actor he follows me on Instagram. So
Oh, nice. That's amazing.
when and the reason why he started following me is because I did 31 days of black people who survived horror movies, and I chose him from Dream Warriors, and I just so happened to mention in my video that he met his fate in
Hmm.
Dream Master. And so I
Wow.
tagged him in it, and he liked the video, commented, and then followed me, and I was like, I'm winning.
Oh my gosh, you are winning. That's awesome. I love that for you.
But yeah, Kincaid, he would have been my number 1, but I just feel like there were other people that just meant more to me than he did, as far as like characters that I really, really enjoyed. So
Absolutely. Yep.
Kincaid, gotta love him. Who do you
Gotta
have at
love them. I
number
love them.
who do you have
All
at
right.
number 2?
All right, my number 2, going back to the beginning, one of the few characters that is in actually 3 installments besides, Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger, but I had to go back and choose Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp. And a quick shout out to the character of Heather Langenkamp from New Nightmare as well. I think they're both great. So Heather is great, and I love her interesting and quirky acting style in the first film that a lot of people criticize and they pick out as a negative. I actually love it. I think there's a certain thing she does in that movie that almost is more believable because it's not a great performance. And when I say not a great performance, I'm saying that's what other people say. I think it's great for what it is, and it doesn't have to be anything more. But I just absolutely love her. She is also, like I said, great in New Nightmare as a mother. And, the first time we had a whole different dynamic with a mother trying to protect her son and, all that type of stuff. But I also love in the first film that she goes all like Home Alone on Freddy's ass long before the character of Kevin McAllister existed. So it's a lot of fun. Again, going back to that first film, much like you said, I would die to have the experience of seeing The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1 in the theater, because as much as I still think Dream Wars is to me the best one for a lot of different reasons, the OG first Nightmare on Elm Street is a legend. It's a classic. And I would love to just see her and that great performance she gives in that movie that not enough people give her credit for on the big screen. So yes, Heather and the character of Nancy Thompson, one of the great final girls of all time. She did not quite make my number one for reasons I'll get into, but she's definitely right up there as one of the great final girls in horror.
I agree. Totally agree with you on everything you said. Nancy, for me, the first time I saw this movie when I was 5 years old, like I remember cheering for her and, and saying, and, the scene where she's trying to walk up the stairs, that terrified me. I was like, I never looked at stairs the same again. Like, even though we didn't have stairs in our house, like if I saw like somebody had stairs, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to go upstairs. I'm okay. But Nancy is definitely top tier. Like she's one of the OGs. And when it comes to final girls, she is one of the OGs. And I don't understand why people would say that about her quirkiness during it made it more believable that she was actually suffering through Freddy's nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believed her. Like, nobody else believed her. Just like my number 2 didn't believe her. Lieutenant Donald Thompson.
Oh, yes.
Who was not only in A Nightmare on Elm Street 1, he also was in 3, but he also was in New Nightmare as well, too.
Yep.
Nancy's dad was complicated. He harbored a secret. He was part of the original Elm Street parents that caused Freddy's demise. And he also was a no nonsense cop. He had a thing for Rod for some reason. Like, you're not beating up her boyfriend. You're beating up the other dude, and I'm not understanding why. But as a father, his main goal was to protect his kid. He didn't know that Freddy was coming after her in her dreams until she told him. But he reassured her that if you catch this guy, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to save you. And then later on, when we go to part 3, he's part of the reason why, like, Freddy ends up, meeting his demise again. So, but, it's that love that he had for Nancy that showed through in the first one and also showed through in the third one as well, too. And then when we get to New Nightmare, he is in character, but also not in character. So like halfway through the movie, he's not in character, but then he goes right back to being Lieutenant Thompson. And you're just like, and he's like, Nancy, what are you talking about? She's like, well, why are you calling me Nancy? He's like, that's your name, man. Like, are you crazy? You need to get some sleep, He wanted what was best for his daughter. And that's why I love his character. And because he was, at first he didn't believe her, he truly didn't believe her. But then after a while, he was just like, you know what, sweetie, I got you. Like, especially when he got to the third one and he got told that this is all happening again. He was like, he jumped into action. just like a dad would. And so, yeah, that's the reason why I chose him. He's it for me.
I love that character. I didn't pick him, but I do. What I like about him specifically is when you look at the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, a lot of these parents are not great parents. In fact, some of them are downright mean to their kids, or neglectful, or all these adjectives you could use. But what I love about him, like you said, is you can tell he actually cares about his daughter. He's trying to protect his daughter. And even in, part 3, where he's in a bad way and, he's slipped into alcohol abuse and, he's just not in a good place in life. At the end of the day, he's still there to protect his daughter and to protect these kids. And he makes the sacrifice to try to take Freddy down. And then to have him back for New Nightmare. And once again, even in this, try to play almost like his real life, the actor playing himself and then playing Mr. Thompson again. And just that balance that the actor does is so great. But he's even softer in that film and has more of a soft side in that film, which makes me adore him even that much more. Much like you and me finding that spot for Freddy on my list, I kind of left, Lieutenant Thompson off, but I'm glad you included him because, I think he's a great character, and I'm so happy that they brought him back multiple times. And I think that's part of the reason why they did. I think it was just that connection he had with Nancy and how it was real and it came through the screen. And I think that's why they kept bringing them back together, because it really worked.
Yeah, they have great chemistry. Great
Absolutely.
mother, great daughter, father chemistry. They just work, and when I saw he was in 3, I was like, well, okay, y'all brought back Dad, cool. And then watched New Nightmare and was like, what? Y'all brought back Dad again? I appreciate this. I love it. I love his character because, like you said, he's willing to fight for his kid. And the rest of the Elm Street kids, parents, trash.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, it's so bad. So I'm glad we have at least one good parental character in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
If only one.
And finally, at number 1.
Yes. So this character is my favorite character, not just because I think it's a great character, because I have the most nostalgia, the most relatability, the most connection to this one character than any other character in the history of this franchise. I'm talking about Alice, played by Lisa Wilcox from The Dream Master and The Dream Child. Lisa is a lovely woman. Her character was always so relatable to me. There was something about, especially when you look at The Dream Master, she's very quiet. She's very backwards. I knew what that was like as a kid growing up, seeing these movies. Instantly I connected with it because that was me. I was very quiet. I was a little bit backwards. I was unsure of myself. All the things that we get from Alice early in that film. And then her evolution just in The Dream Master alone, when she starts to take on the souls and the characteristics of her friends that she's losing to Freddy. Yeah. And then slowly she becomes this brave, courageous, badass final girl to take on Freddy. I love her story arc. And then you move into The Dream Child, which is not a great film. It does have some cool things. It's not a great film. Has some cool qualities here and there. The whole idea, though, of Alice becoming a mother is really cool because it's the first time we really get that until New Nightmare. But we finally get one of the Elm Street kids becoming a parent. Yes. And now you have a whole different dynamic of the child. And is it Freddy's? Is it possessed by Freddy? Freddy's, taking over the dreams of a child. It's insanity. And all the while, Lisa Wilcox's performance, especially she's great in Dream Master. And there's just this quiet, energy that she has. And then she becomes this almost reluctant badass and hero, but she becomes the hero, which I love. But in Dream Child, she really that's the one thing when I go back to that movie, a lot of things I don't like about it. Her performance is really solid in The Dream Child. So I love Lisa. I think she's awesome. She is the character of this entire franchise that I think of first besides Freddy, because she's one of my favorite final girls of all time. I love her. She's my number 1. Alice all the way.
Nice. So I like Alice in Dream Master. Dream Child, not so much. And I think it's because, like, in Dream Master, she went from being meek and mild to becoming a total badass. And like in Dream Child, she was just like still in badass mode, and it's like, baby, you about to have a child. I need you to dial it back like five badasses. You're at 10. Bring it back to 5, and that's where Yvonne comes in. Yvonne is trying to remind her, like, hey, you are with child. You can't be out here stressing yourself, stressing your baby. But overall, she is a great actress. Like she when she went toe to toe with Freddy, and she was kicking his butt karate style and all that, loved all of that. I wish that Dream Child had been a better movie, because she deserved a better movie than Dream Child. And that's probably the reason why I don't think of her first, is because of Dream Child. Because Dream Child is definitely not one of my favorite movies. Like, I will watch Freddy's Dead before I watch Dream Child. And that's saying
I
a
get it.
lot.
I get it. Yeah, the Dream Child is a hard watch. Like, it's hard to sit through.
Yes.
As annoying as Freddy is in Freddy's Dead, and he really is annoying, he's almost equally as annoying in the Dream Child as well. Throws out the B word like 6 times too many.
Yes.
And he's very repetitive. It's so annoying. Like I said, there's a couple little things about the movie I really like that I don't have with Freddy's Dead, and that's why it's just a notch above that. But I'm with you. It's definitely one of the lower tier in this franchise, without a doubt.
Have to agree. So your number, was it Nancy was your number 2?
Yes.
She was my number 1.
Okay. I get
it. I mean, for me, she was my first final girl. Like, I got introduced to horror through A Nightmare on Elm Street. So Nancy was, for me, the blueprint. And then I watched Halloween and all that stuff. And like, if I circle back around, I'm like Nancy is it, y'all. Like for me, like Nancy was like you said, she home alone her house. So Freddy was catching all the light bulbs. How was he still standing? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I mean, she was the one to figure it out. She realized that if I pull this Joker into the real world, I could cause damage. Dad, make sure you're here when I pull him out. Because she pulled out his hat and she realized, like, oh snap. And of course, obviously her mom didn't believe her. Her mom is one of the trash Elm Street parents. But like, for me personally, Nancy walked so other final girls could run. So,
Yes.
your Sidney Prescott could run. And a lot of things that Sidney Prescott did in the first Scream movie was a callback to what Nancy did to Freddy in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So, I mean, even her death in part 3 hurt. It hurt because we was like, yay, Nancy survived. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, they done her dirty. And I think I was so happy that Wes kind of righted that wrong by bringing her back for New Nightmare. Again, telling a completely different story, doing the meta thing before he even did it in Scream. Speaking of something walking so something could run, there probably is no Scream without what he did in New Nightmare first. Got his feet wet with that whole concept and the look of it and everything. New Nightmare is just an incredible film, but I'm so happy that he brought Heather back to us, allowed her to have this whole new character, this whole new spin on it, and left her survive because she deserved it. And I'm with you. And I want to ask this because I'm curious, like, is Nancy close to the top for you as far as all-time horror final girls? Is she one of your top ones, if not your top one?
She's definitely at the top.
Okay.
She's right up there. I mean, obviously, because I'm a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid too. So Nancy's right up there with Sidney Prescott. She's up there with Laurie Strode. She's up there with Sally Hardis. It's like she's always going to be top 5, if and then, depending on how I feel that day, my number 1 will change on who my favorite final girl is. Because over time, Sydney Prescott has dropped a little bit from like top 3 to like she's still top 5, but it's because she's just become a cameo, if that makes sense, in the Scream franchise.
Yep.
And almost the same with Laurie Strode too, but then they redeemed it by those last 3 Halloween movies, and I was like, okay, you know what? I will let her stay in the top 3 because they tried to redeem her. Even though she was somebody's grandma, in those movies, she still was a complete and total badass. But yeah, Nancy is definitely always going to be in the top for me, and it's because Wes gave her that second chance in New Nightmare. Because when I tell you my heart was broken watching 3 and seeing her die, I was like, I cried along with everybody else. Like, oh no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. You can't take, because she came back as a mentor. She was like, I'm one of the survivors of, one of the Elm Street kids that survived. You are the last of the Elm Street kids. I'm going to tell y'all how to make it. And it ain't going to be drinking coffee and taking no-dos. Because that's what she was drinking Coke. She was drinking taking no-dos. And she was doing everything to stay awake. And then she figured it out. She figured out that, what, in your dreams, you can be whatever you want to be. And you can use your dreams as your power to defeat whatever may come your way. And that's why Nancy's my number 1.
She's awesome. I always say, like, a common trait to the greatest final girls is resourcefulness. And I don't know that there's any more resourceful than what Nancy Thompson / Heather Langenkamp was. So I'm with you. I've always leaned more towards like a Ripley, or I love Ginny from Friday the 13th Part 2 because I'm a big Friday the 13th guy. And I love Ginny because she has some similar traits to what Nancy does. But I'm with you. I think Nancy belongs in the top 5 because of her uniqueness, everything she does, and how much her character influenced so many, horror final girls that would come after her great performance in the first one, especially.
Yes. So there you have it, everyone. Justin and I have given you our top 5 Nightmare on Elm Street characters, whether they were survivors, fighters, or just unforgettable. They all left a mark in Springwood, and also apparently with us as well too. So who is your favorite Elm Street character? Drop it in the comments below. Let us know who you liked, who you didn't like. I mean, it's all fair game here. So Justin, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Absolutely. Mika, thanks again for having me. This was an absolute honor to talk with you about Nightmare on Elm Street and to come onto your show. Everybody can find Pop Culture Reflections on pretty much any podcast platform. The only place I have not really gotten into yet is YouTube. I haven't tried to figure that game out yet, but all audio. Some video clips are on Spotify, but other than that, it's all audio, all the big places, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeart, all those places you can find it. And then on the socials, you can follow my page and my content on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, a little bit of Facebook. But yeah, come interact with me. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on movies and music and television, because my show, Pop Culture Reflections, covers all kinds of topics ranging from movies, music, television, pro wrestling, pretty much anything in pop culture that I have some type of connection with, or if when I'm having a guest on, if they do, we'll talk that as well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and anyone that would check it out, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Nice. So I will have all of that information in the description box at the bottom of this video. So please, please, please make sure you follow Justin, because when I tell you he's probably like one of my favorite people, he's like one of my favorite people. Like
Thank you.
He's one of my favorite people. Because if y'all don't see, if you haven't noticed, he has the Killer Clowns from Outer Space behind him. He knows my heart. He knows my heart.
Yes, I do. That's why we covered it together.
Yes, we did. So also make sure you like, share, and subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you never miss another nightmare. And as I always say, until next time, boys and ghouls.